Hey everybody, what is going on? It's your boy 33 bringing you another episode of TFT Concepts. Today, we're jumping into episode numero deux, and numero deux is actually a callback. Yes, that's right, we're going back in time. We're going back in time to patch 9.18. This is 3 champions I was expecting in patch 9.18 of TFT. I'm going to start off with the madman herself, Nico. Now, Nico, obviously, I wanted to be a 5 cost champion whom fits the wild category pretty nicely with how she is. Sorcerers, and then shapeshifters, obviously, with her passive. Now, her ultimate in game would actually be her Pop Blossom. Obviously, she stuns everyone that's around her, giving herself a shield. And that's going to be a common thing in this episode of TFT Concepts shields, because there isn't really anything that gives champions this sort of protection, other than like a Locket of Iron Solari. Like, it's possible to grant shields, so why haven't they got champions doing this? Anyway, let's move on from Miss Nico and jump into something that's a bit more Stargarden-y, starting with Recon, who's a 2 cost champion, and then Zaya, who's a 5 cost champion. Now, obviously, if you're adding one, you've got to bring the other, and Recon, if you don't realize, will be a Guardian, and Zaya, a Ranger. Now, both of them only have one, and then they share one trait, and it's called Lover. And Lover, in a sense, whenever a target's low, Recon or Zaya jumps to the other, providing them with a shield and also a bit of movement speed, obviously, to get to them. Now, this happens pretty much instantaneous as soon as they get below like X amount of health, and it's a very good reason to run them because it provides them with a bit of a shield and some protection during it. Now, that's not the only thing these two have, obviously, that's just their trait. So, Rakan will have his amazing thing called the Gleaming Quill. Obviously, what this does is it fires. It's his normal in-game Q where he fires off a shot that hits a target. If it hits an enemy, it provides a circle, and when he walks into a teammate or a teammate is in his circle, he'll heal him. That's pretty much the basis of this ability, and as a whole, it provides a bit of a heal. And with him being 2 costs, obviously he's going to have that sort of basis of the extra armor from Guardians. Well, he'd be quite strong if they go for this. Anyway, let's talk about Zaya. Now, Zaya, to start with, is auto attacks. Every third auto attack is going to place a feather, as you can see here. And with these feathers being placed behind a target, it's obviously going to rack up. And these shots go through, obviously, your front enemy and hit the back enemy. Now, this is going to stack up to build up her mana bar. Once she gets a full mana bar, she fires off her Feather Storm and then uses Blade Caller to pull back all the feathers that have been scattered across the field. Now, that obviously will include the feathers that have been set down previously from her basic attacks and obviously use them in her ultimate. Moving on to the next champion, and it's going to be Silas. Now, Silas is a fairly complex champion. He's going to be a 5 cost champion, another one in this episode, I know, and he's going to be a Hextech Unchained champion. Now, obviously, Hextech, him being a Hextech champion, it seems logical, and the Unchained is going to be a new, like, unique trait to him, like similar to how Robot is to Blitzcrank, similar to how I put Lovers because they're obviously a duo and you always seem together. But Unchained, if you don't get what it does, it's unique to Silas in a sense. He steals a champion's ultimate, as you can see here in this video. We have Silas stealing Ash ultimate, and then once he fully charges up his mana bar, he can obviously use what he's got, and then Papow, he fires off the Ash arrow into a target. Obviously, he's going to have to have stole it first to then be able to fire it. It's a random enemy at the start of a battle, I believe it should be, to steal the ultimate of, so it provides a bit more of a uniqueness. Obviously, it'd be a hell of a hard thing to code to obviously do, in a sense of how the interactions would be, but it'll be a lot less harder than how it is in normal League of Legends where he steals an ult because it is very complex. Whereas in TFT it's fairly easy to do because literally all it would be is choosing champion because pretty much every champion only has one ability. Granted, it'd be hard for things like Vayne or Jinx to steal their ultimate off, but hey ho, be interesting to see. Anyway, now that we've talked about Silas, we've got a couple more champions left. Moving on to Ezreal. Ezreal, I believe, is going to be a Ranger, Noble, and he's a 4-cost champion. I did it in a different order this time. Obviously, Ezreal is seen as quite a powerhouse. Obviously, being a Ranger, because he has that little bow auto attack, obviously fits in with how Rangers are, with their auto attacks being based on that. Plus, he can obviously get some extra attack speed off. Noble, because he fits Noble buff as a whole and is sort of fitting in. Now, when I was designing Ezreal, obviously he had quite a few options. Obviously, you could go with a Q as his main attack, but I think it'd be better to go with how he actually is and stick towards the traits of the actual TFT. And I went for True Shot Barrage. Now, True Shot Barrage, if you don't know, will hit many enemies. It's going to be basically a bigger version of Varus's Piercing Arrow. Obviously, with Varus being a Ranger, it would fit in quite nicely to have this, and as a whole, would suit TFT as an ability. Moving on to the last champion in this episode of TFT Concepts, it's actually going to be Miss Lux. Now, obviously, you can see here it's not the normal Lux skin that I put here, because this Lux is going to be Noble and Elementalist, and she's also a 3-cost champion. Now, you're probably wondering, Lux is going to have her final spark as a ultimate for me in this. And no, you be wrong. I'm sticking to the armor, as I said earlier. Obviously, use of the prismatic barrier here. As you can see here in this video clip, the shield first goes through a champion's, it provides a little shield, and when it comes back, you'll see in this next bit of the clip, it will provide a shield going backwards as well, providing them with extra shielding. Obviously, we like having champions that gain shields, and it provides them a bit of protection. Anyway, I do believe that is going to be it. That's all 5 champions for this episode of TFT Concepts. It's going to be quite a quick episode, to say the least, and we're adding in another 5 champions to our actual concepts PowerPoint, because if you don't realize this is all in PowerPoint, I had to save every idea I've done into one PowerPoint, and hopefully we can continue this. This is going to be episode 2, and I haven't actually done any more planning of any more champions. I've got my sheet in front of me of every champion. I've got a new class designed. I've definitely got enough champions to do another episode, but after that I'm going to obviously have to think of new ones for new champions, obviously. But anyway, that's going to be the end of this update. If you enjoyed this, leave a like down below, subscribe if you're new around here, and if you want to be honest, and I'll see you guys later. Peace.